Hey, hello, 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 and welcome. Today we will be talking to Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. I am so honored. This man has a lot of knowledge about
Hey,
music.
I appreciate it. As you said, the channel, call me Mr. Broadstreet. I've been doing the channel for a couple of years now.
Mhm.
Want to say close to 3 years as of 2024 when the anniversary rolls out about in July 1st. So I kind of started it, during basically during the lockdown, during COVID, and I've been toying with the idea for a little bit. So here I am and happy to answer any questions. Got a few items to show, a little bit about myself. I've been collecting since I was in high school, so I'm a Generation X Beatles fan. So a lot more like the solo stuff. I have some Rolling Stone stuff as well. 1991 was when I really, really started collecting hardcore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get into the music, like how did you come up with your name, Call Me Mr. Broadstreet?
Well, I came up with it because I actually have. There's a movie called "Give My Regards to Broadstreet," actually right over that shoulder right there.
Okay.
So basically, it was released in 1984. It's one of my favorite Paul McCartney films. Contains the top 10 UK and US single "No More Lonely Nights," which is my favorite song of him by far. So that's kind of how I came up with it. I have the DVD around here somewhere, but I didn't have time to get it for our recording here. But trust me, it's in the archives and people can see it on the channel. But that's how I came up with it. It's a play on "Give My Regards to Broadstreet."
So I was watching your channel and you do a lot of Beatles. Is that like your favorite group of all time?
Yes. Okay, in case people couldn't tell, but yeah, I've got the. I'll describe some stuff in the background that I have here first. So that's a promo right there of Paul McCartney. "Give My Regards to Broadstreet" soundtrack album and the single "No More Lonely Nights." That's an old record advert from 1984. Going upwards just a little bit here. That's something my mom got for me back in the early 90s. I want to say about 1991 or 1992. Service merchandise, which I don't even think exists anymore.
Mhm.
That's the lyrics, and it's a gold-plated record for Imagine, but it's not an actual gold record award. Like a lot of places, they'll just do like a gold-plated, commercially available thing. But I've enjoyed that for a while. Uh, right behind me, Abbey Road poster that someone I went out with in college. She got me that, and I've treasured it ever since. I actually got to go there in 1999, November of 1999. I got to go to London, one of my favorite trips of all time. And then this one here from 1965, that's their, they use that picture for a couple posters for like the US concerts. And I think that's their concert in Paris. I can't remember where I got that one from. So there's just so much stuff in the archives, I can't even quite remember.
Man, how did you get this love for like the Beatles and Paul and everybody?
Good. It's good you're going into that because I've got one item right here. It started with July 4th, 1990. I was 14 years old. My first rock concert ever, Paul McCartney. My dad managed to get tickets for myself and my mom. In fact, I've got a ticket stub right here.
All right.
Yeah, $30. Can you believe it? Now the ticket prices are probably
Wow.
at least 150 to 200, up in the nosebleed sections.
Hmm.
Right here, I still have my old concert program right here. They
Oh,
gave these away for free, so I'll show you. I got
that is
that with
cool
me.
that you still have all of this.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. In fact, this one here does talk about Broad Street right here. I don't know if that's going to show it too clearly, but
Let me try to zoom in for you.
yeah,
These great dreams.
yeah. So the film itself didn't make a lot of money,
Mhm.
but it's a personal favorite of mine. I mean, again, it was kind of around that same time with, like 1982, you had the collaboration with Stevie Wonder on Ebony and Ivory, and then 1983 you had Say 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 with Michael Jackson. So in between those, Paul was actually filming that particular film, and then that was released in 1984. But it didn't do as well as stuff like, let's say, Purple Rain, Ghostbusters, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Interesting side story on that. Paul McCartney and Harrison Ford got to meet because Broadstreet was filming at Elstree Studios the same time as Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So he got to meet Spielberg and Harrison Ford, and they kind of got to go back and forth, at the studio and everything. So that's kind of a fun little story I'd like to tell. But yeah, Temple of Doom made just a little more money. Uh, but yeah, but that's kind of what started it. That's what really got me from kind of knowing who they were during the 80s, as a kid. That just got me into full fanatic mode. So 1991 rolls around, I'm grabbing everything I can. CDs with like the long boxes way back in the day. Everything I could possibly think of. So yeah, that can be attributed to that concert right there. That was just life changing.
Oh wow. Oh,
Yeah.
that must have been some awesome concert. And get it for $30. That's
Yes.
awesome.
I didn't have to pay anything, luckily, but I wasn't
Right.
working at the time. But my to get that for that amount of money, oh, just so amazing. That's kind of how I discovered it. My dad would kind of play like Beatles records and stuff like that when I was growing up. So I mean, I kind of had an idea who they were, but it took me many years to realize, oh wait, solo Paul with wings and stuff like that. Oh, that's the same guy in the Beatles. When you kind of make all the connections and everything.
Right. So about how much memorabilia do you think you have all together since 1990?
1991, let's see. So going on 30 some odd years. Oh my God. I've got autographs, which I'm going to be showcasing more on the channel in the coming year. I would guess, God, if I had to do an inventory, the
Awesome.
autographs alone, I might have about 4 or 5,000 in autographs just in that alone.
Of
If
like
I had to,
just the Beatles?
just Beatles, yeah, just Beatles,
Wow.
not to mention Comic Con, stuff like that. I think I've never really done a count
Mm.
of everything, but you know what? I would have to say at least between books, CDs, DVDs, everything like that, I'd have to estimate 300 to 400 items at least. Yeah, individual items.
That is
So, yeah.
amazing.
So I just went a little bit, just a little bit overboard in that direction. But it's all fun.
Besides the Beatles, who else do you really like?
Well, second favorite band, Rolling Stones. Actually, that's their latest album. I haven't unsealed it, but I've got it streaming right
Okay.
here. Really good album. I have a whole bunch of stuff from them. Matter of fact, I'll break out a couple other things. This is probably one of my favorite books done on them. It's kind of like a chronology right here. So I think people will be able to sort of see
Wow, that
that a
looks
little bit.
excellent condition.
Yeah, it is. It's really good condition. It goes up to about 1992 or 93. 1993. So, I mean, it goes over like the first 30 years of their history. Got a whole bunch of CDs by them. I've got another rarer book in the archives. My bookcases are like just right off camera over here. So that's why I'm looking over there. Also just got, this is a more recent thing, Paul McCartney at 80, which was about last year at this time. So, I mean, time is really flying by for a lot of these icons. And the thing is, I think part of it is now trying to collect a little bit more of the expensive memorabilia, because sadly they're not going to be with us, for a very long time. I think both Paul and Ringo could be with us for a little while, but as far as an active artist, I don't see too many years where they're going to be going out touring, things like that. So it's definitely just so much fun, and I just enjoy it. But Rolling Stones, I was introduced to them from a friend of mine in high school. So one of my best friends in high school kind of handed me a tape of theirs. I started listening. I'm like, okay, this is a good band too. Not as good as the Beatles, but like Beatles would be here, Rolling Stones would be very, very close.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what about the
And
third? You got to give us your top three.
top three. Well, I got to see the Rolling Stones in '97. My third one would have to be David Bowie. I
Oh,
have a lot of his stuff. I got to see him in 2004. Rest in peace. He was an amazing concert. Really, I've got some pretty good stuff with him too. I should dive more into Rolling Stones and David Bowie with a little bit of stuff on my channel. I've been focusing a lot on the solo stuff, like you said. He was an amazing concert. I've picked up a lot of his stuff over the years. That was actually through a coworker, former coworker. We kind of recently reconnected, so we were talking about that, and that was a major event. I mean, when Bowie passed away, I want to say it was within a few months of Prince. I think they both kind of
mhm.
passed away around the same year, and it was just like, wow, it's losing Prince, losing David Bowie. It's like it's losing colors that you can't paint with anymore. Is
Right,
a bird. But
right.
yeah, so those would be my top three.
Okay. So you've been having your channel almost 3 years in 2024. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
When would you like to see your channel? I guess in like 5 years.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I mean, first of all, you've been an inspiration because
Oh,
I've definitely seen your evolution of your channel, through quite a few, different phases and everything. I definitely love to have more subscribers. I think at 5 years, I would have to say I'd love to reach at least the 1,000 subscriber mark. At that point, hopefully, knock on wood, I do. At that point, I wouldn't mind being able to, maybe make a little bit of money off of it. I mean, I've got my keep the lights on job, right? As they all say, because I mean, I got to go to work. For me, at least, I go to work. I have the whole, corporate thing, everything like that. I usually don't talk about that on my channel or on social media, but let's just say that's at least to, keep everything running and going. I'd love to be able to do this full time at some point. I really would love that, just to be able to maybe do a little bit more live, a little bit more interaction. I haven't done too many live chats. So I think those are the directions I'd like to see within like 5 years. So in 2028, wow, I can't even think of it. But yeah,
so how many subscribers do you have now?
actually, I'm at 280 right now. So I'm feeling pretty good. 280. I remember when I had like, just 5 subscribers, 10 subscribers. I always try to let people know, I appreciate it. You among them, obviously. I appreciate your support, and your kindness, your guidance. But yeah, at 280 right now. So it's slow and steady. It's definitely, like I said, I would love to be able to do something like this a lot more full time and just, exploring this whole good community,
Okay, yeah. Like a lot of people are in love. I've seen some of your videos hit like in the thousands. So yeah, a lot of people like the classics like Tina Turner. I've seen that hit big.
Yes. Oh, rest
Yes.
in peace. I tell you, one of my other favorites, and I remember seeing her video, "What's Love Got to Do with It?" And I think it was about like 8 years old. And let's just say when I kind of looked, I kind of noticed. I'm like, wait, she doesn't look like anybody else I know in school. I was like, in grade school, and just seeing her, walk across and just own the screen.
Right.
Just the amazing story she's had, the absolute all the peaks and valleys, and at that point coming back, and coming back in a major way, really owning it. I really think a lot of her interpretations, it's just amazing. She's an amazing voice. I really was thinking that she was going to be around a bit longer than she did, sadly. But yeah, that was unexpected. That was kind of like I felt I just wanted to add something to it. And I mean, I didn't know if maybe two people would watch it, whatever. But that does surprise. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, and it does surprise me. Like with any video, you just never know what people are going to connect with. But
Right.
yeah, that was a wonderful tribute, and definitely miss her. I miss Denny Lane. I think, as I've talked about before. I know you and I've discussed a little bit, or I've said as comments on your live streams. I mean, I got to see him about 9 months ago. He was full of life. Everything, one minute, next minute, gone. Lung disease. It took him. So I think that's why I really want to, enjoy these folks while they're still here, because you don't know, and I think we're starting to see that a lot more with the natural progression of age or disease or whatever. Um,
Right.
you know,
I'm like you. I thought Tina Turner was going to be around forever. She's been around for a long time.
yes,
People we looked up to, as we get older, they get older as well.
I know, I know. That's a sad fact of it, and it's like I'm not super young myself, but I mean I still feel like that sometimes. And like, I'll do a perfect example, right? I'll also a little promo here for Ringo, right? So we got his Rewind Forward LP, just released this year, and I also picked it up on cassette. I haven't picked it
They
up
still
on
make
LP.
sets.
Yeah, they still make cassettes, believe it or not. I'm going to show you the interior of the cassette. I love the color of it. I just love the kind of orange and yellow right there,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And one of the songs had Paul on it. I'm trying to remember which one. I believe it's "Feeling the Sunlight" right here below. But I just love kind of the retro look of it too. The retro feeling of it. So yeah, if there's a new release, it's generally on cassette. I'll show you also the last Beatles single, "Now and Then," still sealed. I'm gonna open up one of these days. But song that they did, and then "Love Me Do" was kind of the first single from 1962. So yeah, so they released this as a new cassette single. I've got the CD right here, still sealed. I've also got the red vinyl, which I haven't opened yet. And I'm notorious for buying like multiple copies of stuff just so I can open one. But right here, let's see if that can focus on it a little bit more. Yeah, so it's then this gives you a better idea of the back. Yeah, it says made in Germany because I think a lot of stuff, like a lot of the pressing plants in the U.S. that used to do like compact discs and tapes and stuff like that,
Mhm.
they haven't really done that as much anymore. They've closed down over time, but I mean, there's still vinyl sales, there's still CD sales out there and everything. And I even picked up the Red and Blue albums again because as a hardcore fan, they probably already got these. These are kind of the greatest hits right here, and right on the back. And I've already got it streaming, but on the back is right there. That's the latest and last song they had worked on.
Oh,
So it was kind of fun to hear that. Definitely to hear that on at the end of this year. There had been rumors about it coming out over the years, but with both John and now George gone, trying to work on a track, you've only got two of the members left. I was very happy that it did hit the U.S. top 10, which was kind of cool, and then over in the U.K. hit number one. So that's a really powerful thing for, I mean, a group that's been broken up since 1970. Broken up
right.
what, 63 years, something like that.
Hmm.
Or maybe not 63, 53 years, but you get what I mean.
So you said you buy like multiple, so do you buy like two of each, or?
Mhm. Generally two of each. I'll try to, maybe sometimes a little bit more, but I try to get it so like, okay, if I want to open one and kind of really display it. I actually haven't done a review on those tapes, the Now and Then singles yet. But I do plan to just do a little short video on that in the future, kind of just opening up, going, okay, here's what it looks like. So like this Ringo one, for example, that I showed you earlier, since I've got it open, I do have a sealed copy as well. I like to have like one to collect and one to kind of just open and use and everything. Yeah.
So in the future, do you plan on doing like, because like a lot of people are fans of like the Beatles and Rolling Stone. You plan on like doing videos like, hey, you guys, I just want to show you this premiere. I did this. I purchased this cassette or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I've done a little bit of that in the past, and I definitely want to do that with future things as well. I have done unboxings in the past, which it's kind of fun when you hold something up and you're like, okay, I'm going to rip into it. I'll do that first, and then my general thinking is, okay, the next video I'll kind of do more of a proper review. When you do content, I love talking about it. Like I could talk about it for 8 hours straight if you want, but I know you don't have that type of time. But but like when you're talking about it, you're going, okay, I'm so passionate about it. I love this. So I'm doing one where there's actually going to be a quest for an autograph. I'm going to leave that as a little bit of a surprise. That's going to be dropping on January 2nd, so not too long from now.
Ooh.
I'm going to follow along step by step with obtaining an autograph. So that's going to be kind of letting people know this is what I look for. This is how I budget. This is how I would kind of go about it, where I would buy from, and then just updating that maybe every 2 months where I go, okay, this is where I am as far as saving for it. That's the trick I'm going to do. I'm going to save for it. I'm not just going to bust out a credit card and pay for it because I've got to catch up on some bills. But, just to sort of show like, okay, you budget for it. Here's what happened. Here's a setback I ran into because a certain item sold out. So yeah, so that's kind of forthcoming too.
Ooh. So
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, do you have everything like in a safe or anything, or is it just like how do you store so much memorabilia?
Yeah, well, the safe, I have to work on getting a safe next. I do have some plastic bins. Luckily, the complex I live in, there are cameras. I do, tend to keep my doors locked. I'm very careful about who I let in. Um, it it's basically where I know where those autographs are. It may look a bit like a madhouse here, but it's one of those things where I know where exactly where it is. And if you were just passing through, because I do have some bins with other collectibles and stuff like that. I've collected some action figures from my childhood, stuff like that. Back into Star Wars and Indiana Jones and stuff like that. I know where it is, but I try not to draw attention to it. But eventually, the short answer is yes. I would love to get like a big giant safe to put some of this stuff in and lock through because I do have that. I do have insurance on my stuff, so knock on wood, God forbid anything were to happen. I would at least get something back for it. And you know, but yeah, but that's one of my projects I have to work on. And it's just me here, so it's like I have to really be careful where the safe is placed because once it's there, it's not really going to be moving
Right.
unless you get movers to put it in.
Yeah, I had a mid-size safe one time, and it was so heavy. I was like, "No, we're not moving this 20
Mhm.
times."
Yeah, no, I know. I could just picture it now. Call me Mr. Broadstreet, crushed by safe.
Right.
With my arms sticking out like the cartoons.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much for letting me talk to you. I know that you're on YouTube and TikTok. Do you have any other platforms for people to
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, and also I'm on Instagram. All three of them are the same handle, so you can just find me at Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. You could just search that on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. I try to post stuff to Instagram as I'm doing a video, if I can, if it's something, if it's a physical product. TikTok, that's a little more free form for me. So like I'd love to do like a live there of showing something or showing a film or something like that. And sometimes it's just more, I think, as you've seen, kind of more silly videos. Like I can just do a quick 30 seconds, something random, and it's kind of fun. But I'm across all three of those platforms right now.
How often do you post on YouTube?
Okay, yeah, good question. So I try to do it once a week. The operative word is try because sometimes, I may not get to it, but I do always at least try to do something every 2 weeks at a minimum. But definitely every week is when I'm posting. I've actually got some time off now. Yay! From my regular 9 to 5. So this week and into next week, I'll be able to kind of at least work on some content and start posting again regularly. So usually once a week, I try to aim for either maybe a Friday or a Saturday. So folks can definitely catch me there, and then just catch all my other older videos. But I kind of like the more recent ones because I can remember the ones when I started off with no editing, nothing, just with like my iPad. I'm like, oh my god, I look so different.
I know, I know.
It looks like a mess. Thank you for having me on, and I really appreciate it, Miss T.
You are so very welcome. So you guys check out Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. He has a lot of interesting videos showing off memorabilia, a lot about the Beatles, a lot about Rolling Stone. Did a couple like with Tina Turner. I think I seen Dolly and Paul McCartney.
Oh, yep, yeah. That the Rockstar album that she did as a collaboration, but not just with him, but with other folks too. I think like Steven Tyler was on it, and other folks as her rock album. Yeah,
Awesome. I know we said this like 3 or 4 times, but thank you again.
thank you.
And I will definitely have all your contact information. I'm gonna have to find you on Instagram. I don't know if we're connected on Instagram. I know
I
we're on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know if we are on Instagram, but it's the same exact handle. So like for everything, that's kind of my brand, my thing. I mean, sometimes people will say, my actual name Ed, and that's totally cool. I'll go by that, or I'll go by, this, this name that I've chosen for myself. But yeah, but call me Mr. Broadstreet everywhere. You'll find me there. But I look forward to connecting, and just thank you so much. I do appreciate it, Miss T, and thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.